Hello, my name's Stephen, former alcoholic, former. 5 years sober. Now, the best decision I've ever made by far in life was to get sober. It wasn't easy. I tried a number of times to get sober. 8 years I did at one time, went back on it. 8 years, what a waste really. All that work, not work, but the time it took. And life's great when you're off the drink. It's amazing. Why you relapse, I've got no idea. This is something I'm trying to push on here. Trying to get people not to relapse. It's not something I can put my finger on why people do it. Certain triggers, certain reasons, but I never drank because of stress or anything. Because I've been quite a laid back person, to be fair. But when you drink, you get anxious, and your time isn't your own. Really, you're worried about things all the time. Worried about things you shouldn't be worried about. I think I become OCD about everything. Everything was a problem. When you stop, the positives are so so good, and life becomes a different place. You know, you've got a future, you've got a new philosophy on life, and you feel much better, really. I'm just going to talk quickly here a little bit about signs that you think you're drinking too much. I knew I was drinking too much because first everybody told me, even colleagues at work were like, God, you can sink a few. Mind you, a lot of us did, the job I did. And Central London was a bit of a party place anyway. But my wife at the time was always on at me. My parents, who lived a few hundred miles away, we used to see one about once every 6 weeks or so, always said to me, when you come back here, you drink so much. I said, yeah, because my day is off. I haven't had a day off for a long time and all that. That was just an excuse. I drank all the time because I enjoyed it. It was part of my life, to be honest. In the end, it controlled me, nearly killed me. But the warning signs really you've got to think of is, are you feeling under the weather a bit more than you should? Do you look a little bit, a bit tired all the time? Pale skin, you're not really looking after yourself, you're not eating particularly well. Things that used to be easy are now becoming a struggle. I'm not about age things here, just things in the mind. Because when you drink, your mental clarity just disappears, really. And you start to focus on work and think, well, the work's, secondary to me getting out of here, getting changed and going to the boozer. As soon as you get in the boozer, you think, oh, life's great again, isn't it? Look forward to your days off. You don't look forward to your days off because you want to go hiking in the hills, or you want to go canoeing, or have a long drive out somewhere. You focus on your days off because you think, well, I can have a lie in the next day. I can recover. And when you have a day off, well, I used to anyway, a bit mad really. Have a few at lunchtime, then have a few early evening, have a few late evening, have a few more cans in the house. There was a local pub next to me called the Forest Gate. If you're from London, East London, you'll know this. It's right in the middle of Epping Forest, really. And I used to go in there 3 or 4 times a day sometimes. And the bar stuff, you say, are you back again? Obviously I was. Because I'd go in at 11:30, have a couple then. Pop back about 3. Then when my partner got back from work, I said I was going to go for a quick pint, take the dog for a walk. The dog was so well known in the pub. It's incredible. People used to buy him bits and bobs to eat, and it was mad. So there'd be 3 times. Then I'd go out into Epping High Street, watch a band or something. And then by 10:30, I'd come back and go back to Forest Gate. So 3 or 4 times a day I've been there. I think they must have had a few holidays on the profits they made from me. However, that was my life, really. But I still worked hard and I still did all right. But I'd had no real social life other than drinking. We used to go abroad quite a bit to Northern Italy, and we used to drive. But she used to do a lot of the driving because I would have a few bottles in the car. It was great fun, wasn't it? My wife didn't drink, you see. So I was like king of the pub again. And my whole life was just alcohol. I loved it. And when I was told, why don't we go to the doctor? Why don't you get something done about this? I didn't want to. I did try and cut down a little bit, and I thought, I feel great now. I had a couple of cans last night instead of 10. And I feel really good. I might as well have another 10. I feel better. And that's the way it went on. It became a spiral. And you get into this situation where your whole life is controlled eventually. Because it's a long process, this. I don't think there's any, I can't put my finger on a specific turning point where you become an alcoholic. It's just One day you think, I don't feel well. I'll have a few drinks to make me feel well. And then eventually you're not drinking to get any buzz or any sort of any relax from it. You're drinking because you want to feel better. And that's when it's dangerous. So people will tell you when you're drinking too much. That's probably the main warning sign, because you'll deny yourself. Are you missing days off from work? You're ringing in sick. You're going in late. Is everything a bit of a rush? Maybe you get up a little bit later. You're not organised for work, this sort of thing. Do you neglect your family? Are you starting to neglect yourself? Have you maybe lost your ambition? You won't sleep properly. This is another big warning sign to me. Tossing and turning, and then you think, "Oh, I've got to lie," I'll lie in bed a little bit longer. And you just toss and turn in the morning, and you're awake, and you think, "Oh God, just get out of bed." So you haven't really slept at all. Everything becomes, like I said earlier, a stress. Every bill becomes a stress, and you start to worry about things more. So there's a lot of warning signs. I think you'll know when you're drinking too much. You see your finances just disappear. That was a big one for me. I mean, we earned quite a good salary, but a lot of it was going on booze. I'd say £1,500 a month a few years ago. That's a lot of money, isn't it? I mean, what can you do with that? It's a lot of cash. And I'd say the average moderate drinker, even not even a heavy drinker, will spend 1,000, at least 750. When you think that the average wage is only 27 in the UK, you're talking about a third of your cash going on alcohol, which doesn't have any benefit to you, it doesn't do any good. Debilitates you, makes you ill. So there's a lot of reasons, a lot of things you see in yourself. Your eyes will be a bit cloudy, really. Your skin becomes sallow. You start to develop a bit of a sluggishness about you. You can't be bothered with things. You can't be bothered with people. The phone rings, you think, "Oh, I can't be bothered with that." You turn off from life, I think. That's the warning signs. If you're getting these warning signs, you've got to look at yourself really and think, well, hang on a minute. Because really, I waited till the end when the axe fell, to be honest, which was nearly too late. And a lot of people die in the UK, and there are hundreds of thousands of alcoholics in this country, possibly in the millions of problem drinkers who never seek any help. And I read some statistics. I've done a lot of research on this over the years, actually, not just recently, that 90% of people who should ask for help don't. Now, the 10% that do, only 1% will actually quit for life, which is staggeringly low. And also, amongst the ladies on here, their group, the death rate from alcohol-related diseases across the board has risen 37% in the last 5 years. So check the government figures; it's all on there. However, huge tax receipts from alcohol, massive TV advertising. It's never been more widely available. It's everywhere, isn't it? Even service stations. I mean, what's all that about? Motorway service stations. When you could buy a bottle of whiskey. That's another thing I'll get on to. Spirits, I never drank any spirits or wines, nothing like that. It was only lager, but it doesn't matter at all. Got some ethanol in it, which is the poison which affects you. And there's a lot of other related diseases from alcohol. But on the positive side, if you can crack it, it's a wonderful life. And I'm not 21 again, but I feel better than I did when I was 21. If you enjoy the channel, please subscribe. And if you've got any comments, just drop me a line. And anything you want me to cover or maybe find out for you, then I will do, because I've plenty of time to do this. Maybe you haven't, maybe you're busy with work and you've got other stresses and strains. I haven't at the moment, thankfully. I'm not saying alcohol takes all the stress away, but it certainly makes them easier to deal with. So get back to me and I'll try my best to give you some assistance and support. As I said before, I'm not a medic, but I've got 40 years of practical experience, and I'm actually free now and much, much happier, much more confident. And I'd like you to get to that level and beyond, because there'll be a lot of people who are much younger than me who are just starting to get into this mess, and it's not easy to get out, because once you're on that road, it's hard to turn off it. So I'll switch all soon, and have a good day.